Good morning, guys. Good morning. It's a good day. Welcome to another edition of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency news. I am George. Today's a good day because look at Bitcoin. It's above 17,000, not just slightly above, 17,300-ish right now. Yes, this is what I've been talking about for the last few weeks, especially last week. I'm like, after 15,000, there's really a big gap up to 17,300, right? And that is where we are right now. And guess what? What's beyond 17,000? Well, there's a bunch more empty space above 17,000, and that leads all the way up to 20,000. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of stuff I want to share. There's a lot of enthusiasm now. FOMO is starting to build. I mentioned how retail investor FOMO really hasn't started, but it's starting to get there a little bit. But Bitcoin has been doing its thing, and it's been going up and up and up and up, and there's good reason for it. And today I'm going to share some of those reasons why it's been going up and why it may go even higher. At the title, second part of my title, I said 300,000 by end of 2021. Doesn't that sound familiar? Hasn't that been a number or something I've been showing you guys on the charts for a couple years now? Now someone else, a prominent figure in the banking industry, agrees with me, and I'm going to share that as well. So definitely a good day, guys. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. It's beautiful outside too, where I am at least. And let's have a good one. All right, let's have a good session, have a good Q&A, and let's see where Bitcoin ends up. Is it going to go higher? Is it going to take a breather? Well, let's see. So make sure you hit the like, smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit that notification bell. And before I get started, you see last week I added a Vegas fund QR code. Those of you guys that are interested, I actually had people email me about Vegas. I'm like, I don't know anything yet, but I do know that once we go above 20,000 and it's time to meet together and have a good Vegas party, probably not in 2020, sometime in 2021 things die down, but it's time to start preparing. So if you want to contribute, use that QR code, contribute to the Vegas fund. All right, and also follow me on Twitter, which you see my handle below. So let's get started. What's going on with Bitcoin? 17,330 or 2031. It's bouncing, and you know what? Let's zoom out a little bit because this is just going too nutty. So last week I drew this line out. I'm like, okay, look at this trend line, right? Bitcoin was coming down, but it made higher lows and higher highs, and then once we broke through that, it kind of went sideways, right? And then boom, next leg up. So right now, Bitcoin is just on a tear, on an absolute tear. You know, I mentioned about consolidation periods where Bitcoin goes sideways, and we have seen many periods of that before. Right now, that's not what we're seeing. Right now, we're seeing just, you know, like a rise, a parabolic rise up. Not really parabolic, but a slow and steady and consistent rise up with really no down periods, at least not for a while, right? That could be coming, you know, at 17,000 right now where we are, or it could be coming at 20,000. Now, 20,000 is a big jump. 70,000 to 20,000 is a big jump, 3,000 point jump. And the reason why there's nothing in there is because literally there is nothing in between. Bitcoin has only been, and I saw this from one of these posts here, Bitcoin has only been above 17,000 for 10 days in its entire existence. So remember back in 2017 when Bitcoin was going above, reaching 20,000, it wasn't there for very long. So it's not like we were hovering at 20,000 for months and months and months. No, we didn't even hit 20,000, like 19,500 something. We hit that like only for a few days. So the amount of time above 16,000, 17,000 has been very, very, very limited. So, you know, just for fun, let's just go all the way back, a trip down memory lane. If I can scroll back far enough here, maybe I should, here we go. So you see the whole time I was scrolling, there was nothing in this period because Bitcoin hasn't been above here for that long at all. So, okay, so what are the days above 17,000, right? So here's the first day, December 7th of 2017. And then once it hit this point, it fell down pretty drastically, all the way down to 13,000. Think about that. That's a 4,000 point drop from 17,000. So can it happen now? Maybe, or maybe not. But that's a pretty big drop. That's a pretty significant one. And then right back up to 17,600. It hovered there for a little bit, then boom, right up here, right? 19,800 something. And then that's when we came back down, utilized 14,000 as a support for a little bit, utilized 13,000 kind of, went back up, boom. But this time couldn't surpass 17,000 and went down, right? So as you can see, the time that Bitcoin has hovered above 17,000 is really, really, really minimal. So if you could count this, December 7th, and December 8th, 1 and 2 days, and then you have 12 and 13, right? And then you have 15 and 16, and then 17, 18, 19, 20, and that's it. That's it. No more, right? So we're kind of in uncharted territories. At least we're heading there, because if we consistently hold above 17,000 for more than 10 days, then we're in really uncharted territory. But as you can see, that's why above 17.3, I mean, there's really not that many stops left, right? There's just very minimal. Maybe you could count this as 17.7 as a next stop point, as a next resistance. After that, it's really, you see this giant candlestick from 17.7 to 19.8. That could be happening, right? That could be happening today. I don't know, right? If we go above to 17.6 and then we break above 17.7, we could just jump up to 20,000 within a single day. That's what happened in 2017. December 16, Bitcoin went from 17,700 to 19,800 within a single day. So can that be right around the corner? Quite possibly. I've been saying how Bitcoin should be hitting 20,000 by year end, right? We're really, really, really close now, and we still have a month and a half. So maybe we do that, or maybe we come back down a little bit and then head right back up, right? If we do have 4,000 point drop, man, I would see that as the biggest gift that we can get for Christmas or right before Christmas, because that would be a golden opportunity to buy more. But I just don't see that happening. I don't see us having a 4,000 point drop from here. But yeah, that is why right now it's a very significant moment. And I still, I mentioned this last week, I still don't see the same kind of enthusiasm back in 2017. It was crazy. It was crazy. Everyone was talking about Bitcoin. Everyone and their mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and friends and coworkers, everyone was talking about Bitcoin. Right now, not so much. Well, maybe because I'm at home, I don't talk to as many people, but I do still meet people time to time when I'm going out, and I don't hear anyone really talking about Bitcoin yet. So that kind of shows you retail FOMO has not hit yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there, right? So I mentioned how Bitcoin could hit 300,000 by 2021, which seems like it's fantasy land at this point, right? There's no way Bitcoin can hit 300,000 by 2021, right? That's only 1 year. What would make Bitcoin go, let's just say Bitcoin hits 20,000 by year end, what would make it go from 20,000 to 300,000? Well, I'll show you on the charts, but I'm not alone. Now there's a prominent Citibank analyst that says the same thing. And keep in mind, this is out of Citibank, one of the biggest banks in the world. And Citibank is allowing this analyst to actually say it too. They didn't just block it either. So this analyst now predicts that Bitcoin will hit $318,000 by the end of 2021, which basically aligns to what I've been saying for the past 3 years. But it was hard to hear, obviously, when Bitcoin was still was low and uncertain and weak. Now it's not so hard to hear when you see it go up and up and up and up, right? But why does this Citibank analyst think it's going to go up? Well, according to this, actually, I don't think he actually said much. There was not much quotes. But basically, he was comparing it to gold. And gold, how gold in the 70s took a real jump, right? It became a real true store of value. It went from a few dollars to $30 and then went to some thousands of dollars, right? It climbed up significantly. And that's what this person is looking at, right? It's comparing it to gold. and also doing a little TA. Now, technical analysis, it only goes so far, but I'll show you why I think it's going to go to 318,000, because this 4-year cycle is very, very similar to the last 4-year cycle, right? So I'm not alone in thinking this anymore. Of course, if we don't hit it, okay, if we don't hit it, we hit 100,000 or just a measly 100,000. I don't think anyone's going to complain, because that's still more than 5x from where it is now, right? So, like I've been saying, the name of the game is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can right now, right? Even at 17,000, I've been saying it. Doesn't matter if it's at 6,000, 10,000, 12,000, 15,000, 17,000. Buying it now is still going to be much cheaper than buying it a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. 10 years from now, who knows what the landscape's going to be. Maybe Bitcoin takes over fiat and becomes $10 million each. We just don't know. That's really far off. Actually, if you think about it, 10 years, not that far off. Like for me, I moved into this house, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, I've only moved in here for a few years, right? But no, it's been 8 years already. Like, time flies, right? I wish I picked up Bitcoin 8 years ago, but I mean, that just kind of shows you, right? You think like 5 or 10 years is really far down the line. No, within a blink of an eye, that's 5 to 10 years. Just like within a blink of an eye, we're now heading into 2021 from 2017, right? It's pretty quick. So I think a lot of people was like really focused on, oh yeah, I gotta become a Bitcoin millionaire tomorrow. No, just accumulate as much as you can, buy as much as you can afford, right? And HODL. That's it. The longer you HODL, the more money you're gonna make. That's the game of Bitcoin. It just is. There's no secret about it. Basically, buy and HODL. That's it. So I'm gonna show you this chart that I've been showing you guys after I go through everything. But I can't say I disagree with this, right? I actually been saying this for a while, so it may seem like it's impossible right now. And I know that. In the back of my mind, I'm kind of thinking it too. Like, are you actually saying this? Do you really believe it go to 300,000? Well, I've been saying this also. After 20,000, it's unknown territory. It can be, it could be moving parabolic after 20,000, right? Like right now, even though it's like this, we're seeing the curve start doing like this a little bit, right? Now, after 20,000, it could be doing this, right? And after 20,000, Bitcoin hit 40,000, 50,000 in a short order. Volatility will come back. And once Bitcoin's at 50,000, to get to 300,000, that's not so far-fetched anymore, right? So you just don't know at this point. But one thing I do know that is 100% certain is someone like Grayscale continues to buy more and more and more and more and more Bitcoins. Okay? They have now 500,000 plus Bitcoins in their Bitcoin trust. 500,000 Bitcoins. And they accumulated most of this within the last year alone. So think about that. It's not just them putting up their money. It's wealthy institutional investors that want to get into Bitcoin. They don't want to deal with Coinbase or whatever, right? They're like, we need someone to just buy Bitcoin for us. We're going to give them $100 million. And that is what's happening, okay? More and more wealthy investors that want to get involved with Bitcoin, they're going to Grayscale, giving their money, and Grayscale is using that money to buy more Bitcoin within their Bitcoin trust. So now Grayscale owns over $8.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, just themselves alone, and they added over $240 million, actually $262 million within the last week alone. Think about it. This is way more. This is way more than what the miners are producing week by week. Grayscale, I have to figure it out, because when Grayscale really started ramping up, they were buying 1.5 times more than what the miners were producing, meaning that they bought every single one that the miners produced and then some. And I heard that number raised to 2x sometime. I don't know what it is now, but it could be even higher than that. So literally every single Bitcoin that is coming out into the circulating market, right, is being gobbled up by Grayscale, and they're buying more. This is the biggest reason why Bitcoin is going up. Grayscale, and there's other companies behind the scene that you just don't know about that are buying Bitcoins by hundreds of millions of dollars per week. Per week, not per month, not per quarter, per week. At this rate, Grayscale is buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin every month. Think about that, right? I mean, this is enormous. This is the reason why Bitcoin is going up, despite the fact that retail FOMO didn't even start yet. That's how amazing it is. When retail FOMO starts, that's a lot more money that's going to pour in. But right now, hasn't even started yet. Right? So Grayscale is definitely the big player in the Bitcoin world. Before, I remember when they were talked about in 2017, 2018, like literally no one really cared. They had a trust, and you could buy that trust GBDC over the brokerage, on the open market through brokerages, but no one really cared until they started ramping up. 2019, they really started to buy Bitcoin. In 2020, that's when they said, we're really going to ramp up, and most of the 500,000 is from this year alone, right? Now, how many of you guys really wish that you bought a lot more of Bitcoin when it was at $3,800 back in March? Raise your hand. Yes. At this point, obviously hindsight is 2020, but during those scary periods, right, when there's fear and blood in the street, that's when you pick up, and that's how you gain massive wealth within a very short amount of time. And if you want to gain more wealth, you just simply hold longer. All right, so yeah, Grayscale is buying a ton, right? And now Mike Novogratz, who also has bought a ton of Bitcoin before, he already owned $185 million of the Bitcoin. That probably has risen up to 200 or 300 million Bitcoin. And he says Bitcoin will be at 65,000 right around the corner. So he says that the network effect has taken over. To quote, I bought more BTC last night at 15,800. It's going to go to 20,000 and then 65,000, right? And then the bigger quote, the network effect has taken over. I see tons of new buyers and there is very little supply. It's easier trade here than at 11K. So yes, buy it. So to him, he thinks that it's easier trade now. That is less volatile because the network effect, or aka FOMO, has taken over. And when FOMO takes over, it means that things are going to go up like crazily, right? Like parabolically. I think it's going to happen at 20,000. That is why he's like, after 20,000 to 65K, that could certainly be possible. After 20,000, it's uncharted territory. It's the unknown. Bitcoin could go up to 40,000 the next day after it hits 20,000. We just don't know. I mean, it seems like it's impossible because Bitcoin in its entire, circuit supply is now over 300 or close to 400 billion in market cap. But still, that's nothing compared to what the amount of money these guys have in Wall Street, right? You're talking about like the biggest, hedge funds guys in the world. They all have hundreds of millions, billions, trillions at their disposal. And they haven't really started buying yet either, I don't think. And they do. It's just going to be nuts. It's really going to be nuts. Them and retail investors and everyone's FOMOing and everyone wants a piece of the pie. And there's not even enough Bitcoin to go around because Grayscale's buying everything from the miners. So what then, right? I mean, well, I know what then. What then is Bitcoin goes up to the moon. That's what's happening. Right now, as I'm streaming, a little bit higher, 17,355, right? I mentioned that other resistance point, 17,700. After that, Bitcoin can shoot up right up to 20,000. That's what happened in 2017. After Bitcoin broke 17,007, it went up to 20,000 in the same day. So can that happen today, tomorrow, this weekend? It could. With everything I'm seeing, everything I'm telling you guys, it definitely could. Okay, what happened to Peter Schiff? I don't know if you guys follow Peter Schiff not anymore. I don't really hear any stories about him bashing Bitcoin anymore because his only thing that he could say is, Bitcoin hasn't broken this high or hasn't broken this high, and look at how gold is doing, right? Well, gold's not doing good anymore. And Bitcoin continues to break previous highs. So I don't know what he said he's going to say now. I still think that he's eventually going to turn and say, yeah, I'm buying Bitcoin now, because he already kind of stated that his son did. I don't know. But he has his bank and, his business clients and stuff. Maybe he can't. Or maybe his business clients or bank clients is going to ask him, hey, you should start offering Bitcoin. So who knows? But anyway, since Peter Schiff called bottom, Bitcoin has been up almost 400%. So kind of shows you, even though he says he missed his opportunity at being a billionaire way back then, right? Had he just converted some of his money, this is what Anthony Pompliano told Peter Schiff, right? All the smart money out there is not saying, okay, go 100% in Bitcoin. Put a few percent, 2, 3, 5% into Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin makes big moves, it's going to affect your portfolio, right? So have Peter Schiff just move some of his gold into Bitcoin, he would be up nearly 400%. That's not too shabby. Think about gold, for the last 11 years really has not moved, right? And Bitcoin has been up, I don't know, millions of percent within the last 11 years. So big difference there. All right, what else is there? I mentioned this already. Okay, here's one. Actress Maisie Williams. Of course, if you guys watch Game of Thrones, you know who she is, right? Arya in Game of Thrones, and she just sailed off to Asia at the end. So I'm wishing that they do a sequel to Game of Thrones where they focus on Asia. But anyways, she tweeted this out. Should I go long on Bitcoin? Right? So this is one saying FOMO's starting to pick up, but not really. But I'm surprised. Here's her Twitter. Actually, 54% voted no. Right? So obviously a vast majority of her audience or her fans are not Bitcoiners. But I think as Bitcoin continues to go up, I think she's going to convert, and she's going to help convert her fans. I mean, this is almost a million votes, right? So think about it. Almost a million votes, and 55% of the million still does not believe in Bitcoin. And the only reason why I think yes is so high is because, articles like this is bringing attention to Bitcoin people to go vote. Otherwise, it's probably a lot less, right? So this kind of shows you that FOMO, retail FOMO, just hasn't hit yet, right? But once after it goes 20,000, it will. And this also proves it too. You look at Google Trends. This is just from a few minutes ago. Look at today. Sorry. Look at today. Yeah, it has not really moved up. Even this is the search term Bitcoin is lower today, or at least this week, because this is for the last 6 days, than the period in May and the period in March. Right? March was actually a bad period for Bitcoin, but people were searching for it. But you can see that this is actually really low. Okay, let's do another search term. Let's do buy Bitcoin instead. Yeah, you can see buy Bitcoin is still lower than in March, in April, May. So this proves it. Google proves it. No one is really FOMOing into Bitcoin right now, right? But it's starting to turn. And once FOMO hits with retail investors, then we're talking about billions upon billions upon billions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin, and that can only help it go up. It's interesting to see that the state that cares about Bitcoin the most is Nevada. That's just weird. Because of gambling? I don't know. Maybe because people like to gamble, thinks buying Bitcoin is a gamble. I don't know. Then California, New York, Georgia out of the blue, Hawaii, Rhode Island, Alabama. See, some of these countries, some of these states just doesn't make any sense. Okay. So Alaska, number 13, Utah, 15. Some states with the smallest population is now. Oh, look at this. It also breaks down related topics. TD Ameritrade up 600%. Remember, TD Ameritrade was talking about going to Bitcoin before, right? And it kind of died down. Now they're merging with Schwab. Who knows? I have a feeling, brokerages is going to open up to Bitcoin buying pretty soon, right? Why would they not? They, of course, if people are asking for it, they go do it, right? So yeah, that's probably around the corner too. Yeah, Bitcoin continues to go up, 17,447. So still going up. Lastly, if you go on Twitter, and maybe this is different than what's happening on the side here. This is different depending on what you click on in Twitter. But you can see that Bitcoin is now trending. 159,000 tweets, right? And you got a lot of articles like this now that's popping up. Bloomberg, you know, they've been covering Bitcoin for a while, but, you know, look at this headline, right? Bitcoin topped 17,000 for first time in almost 3 years, right? So it's starting to trend on Bitcoin. Of course, you got a lot of people like Popliano and others, right, that is starting to talk about Bitcoin. We have a new senator now, Cynthia Loomis, is now also very pro-Bitcoin, right? She, to quote, "I also plan on explaining to my colleagues about Bitcoin. I want to make sure everyone understands that this is a great store of value." Remember, I've been saying that the government, the U.S. government will never shut down Bitcoin or never try because their priority is to tax, right? And because Congress people have their bags loaded. So you know Cynthia has her bags loaded with Bitcoin. And I bet a lot of people in Congress also has it, right? So this is why they're not going to try to ban Bitcoin ever. They just want to make sure they could tax people that's making profits on Bitcoin. But this is also very bullish. You know, now you have a senator that is very pro-Bitcoin. You know, we've been seeing a lot of pro-Bitcoin people come out, but she seems to be really into it. And if she's going to help others within Congress, you know, understand Bitcoin, and they have a lot of money at hand, you know, that's just go help things, right? And maybe make tax laws or make other laws more favorable towards crypto and Bitcoin in general. So that'll also be very good. Yeah, you could see a lot of, here we go. Most profitable investment of the decade. People thought Netflix or Tesla or Amazon has been the best, but no, nothing comes close to Bitcoin. Yeah, so that's everything for that I want to say. 70,477 continues to climb up. Bitcoin is in a very good spot. Oh, I said I was going to show you guys 300,000, right? So let me show you. I've shown this chart for like years now, right? So now people from Citibank is now copying me. Maybe they watch my show. I don't know. But this is how I came to the conclusion, because our 4-year cycle very much mimics the last 4-year cycle. And after last time, Bitcoin hit its all-time high or previous all-time high and decided to go up from there into unknown territory, Bitcoin went up 1,500%. So the previous high at that time was 1,200. Bitcoin hit it, and then decided to go from 1,200 all the way up to 20,000 within a single year, the last year of the 4-year cycle, and it went up 1,500%. So this time around, you know, I drew these arrows. Man, that's coming. That's very accurate, right? You know, I've covered a Bitcoin time traveler before and how his predictions were pretty uncanny. Well, what about this one? I drew these back in January. And look at that, it's following it, right? So maybe we go up slower, but we're going to hit 20,000 by year end. And then after that, boom, 1,500%. That's 300,000 Bitcoin. And that could happen within a single year, just like it did in 2017. Now, the money is definitely a lot higher, right? So you might be thinking, wow, there's no way it could go up that high because it's already worth so much more, right? It's going to be worth trillions if that happens, right? Why not? Gold is worth $10 trillion. Bitcoin is only worth 300 something billion. There's a long way to go, right? So it could definitely get up there. It could go to 300,000 and still not surpass the market cap of gold. So think about that, right? And if it comes down 86% like the last few times, it'll still be at 40 something thousand. It'll still be much higher than where it is now. So think about that, right? So if it comes down 86%, likely, But still, after it comes down, guess what happens? It's going to start coming back up again, right? And next time it goes up, it could go to $1 million. Who knows where it's going to go? So that is how I came to the conclusion that, yeah, there's a good chance Bitcoin can hit 300,000 by the end of 2021. If it doesn't, if it goes to 100,000, 175,000, 200,000, no one's going to complain because that is still much higher than where it is now. And just think about it. Just think about it. Right now, I know it's expensive to buy Bitcoin, but, you know, at 17,000, at 20,000 to buy one Bitcoin, I know it's tough. You know, not many people have 20,000 to just take out of their bank account and buy one Bitcoin, right? So it's tough. But you can get there. You could get to 20,000. You could get to one Bitcoin. Some of you guys that's been dollar cost averaging, you have a Bitcoin or way more than Bitcoin. But think about it. When it hits 40,000, when it hits 65,000, think about it. How many people could take out 65,000 from their bank account to buy one Bitcoin? Almost none. When it gets to 100,000, it gets even harder. It gets to 200, 300,000, it's nearly impossible. No one has that much cash to just take out to buy Bitcoin. Even if they did, they would only be buying one Bitcoin. One, right? To even buy 0.1 would take $30,000, right? So that's why right now, still accumulation phase. I don't know when accumulation phase actually goes away. Even if Bitcoin is at $40,000 in 3 months, is it still accumulative phase? I still think so. I don't know when accumulative phase actually stops. You know, maybe when we're above 100,000, then it's time to stop accumulating and wait for it to come down. I don't have an answer to that because right now we're nowhere close of the end. We're just on the way up. In fact, we didn't even start this yet. We're actually right here, right? So we still have a month and a half to go. And then it's this, boom, boom. And it's pretty much like that too, because if you look at it, right, it's pretty much just upwards movement. But there is volatility. I'm kidding. It doesn't just go straight up. I mean, these red candlesticks, they were pretty big downs, right? But the overall trend is still parabolically up. So, yeah, that could happen. That could happen. Could be right around the corner. Man, Bitcoin just continues to go up and up and up. 70,476, right? Maybe 20,000 is coming this weekend. Yeah, the BLX chart is always slow. COD daily. It only updates like once a day or something. That's why the price is usually a little bit slow. Roger, that's a good point, but I don't know. I honestly think Bitcoin won't go below 10,000 without a catastrophic effect that happens. So let's put it that way. I don't think it's going to go below 10,000 ever again unless something catastrophe happens. For example, we go into nuclear war. World War III happens. Aliens invade. COVID becomes deadly where, 50% of the population start dying from it. Okay? Unless something like that happens, I just don't see it anymore. I could be wrong. I could be wrong again, but I just don't see it anymore. Look at the FOMO in this chat. I'll tell you what, Blade Runner, there's not FOMO in this chat. I mean, first of all, look at how many people are watching me right now. 438. The FOMO days from even 2019, I had over 1,000 people watching. So that kind of shows you that the people watching is just the regular people. This is not FOMO. This is not new people coming in to watch. When you have true FOMO happen with retail investors, you tune in this chat, I'll guarantee you we're at 1,000, 2,000 people. So this is not true FOMO yet. This is just enthusiasm among Bitcoin and crypto holders. But when Bitcoin FOMO hits, you'll know. You'll know for sure. I mean, just look at buy Bitcoin on Google. No one is searching for it right now. I mean, this is still so low. There's too many people that, is just still oblivious to it, or they choose to ignore it, or they still feel fearful. They were burned before and left. There's many reasons, right? But right now, this is not FOMO yet. Take a look at the Bitcoin dominance. $65.7%. It's getting up there. It's getting up there. I will say, though, some altcoins have been doing well. The ones that have been slaughtered for the most part have recovered somewhat, just a little bit, but not really. But some of them have started to move, which is a good sign, right? We would love to see some of the altcoins move, although the name of the game right now is Bitcoin. That's not going to stop anytime soon. But usually when Bitcoin consolidates, that's when some of the money flows out, right? So you can see market cap is nearing 500 billion. That's not too shabby. Our peak was 800 something, close to 900 billion. So we're still like halfway there. Even though Bitcoin is very close to all-time high, the altcoins is still not there, right? But yeah, imagine when basically another $400 billion flows in to not only Bitcoin and altcoins, it's going to have a big effect. So right now, not so much on the altcoins, but some have started recovering. But BTC's dominance continues to rise, 65.7%. If Bitcoin goes to 20,000, let's say by this weekend, it could be at 70%. It could be even higher than that, right? So this is why you don't want to short yourself on Bitcoin at this point. Daryl, if you were investing in 2016, good for you. Good for you. Because 2016 is really when it came up, right? From 100, well, maybe that was 2015. Because I got into 2013, the tail end of it. I started Litecoin mining, and then things went belly up. I got scared out. Unfortunately, I should have got back in 2015. That's when Bitcoin dipped to 160 something, and then Litecoin dipped to like $1. So yeah, that was a good time to get in. Marshawn, I should have a Bitcoin 101 course on Teachable Udemy. I probably will. I'll follow in Superman's footsteps and have Udemy courses. But after FOMO hits, because right now no one's really caring. But after FOMO hits, yeah, I'll probably do something like that. Also, I have my Patreon. I do have a Patreon group, just a few members, handful of members. So if you guys want to join me, you could go ahead and do so. Plan on having some, I still do a weekly newsletter sometimes covering a few things. Also have other things in store, a Discord chat, Vegas stuff. So if you guys want to join me on Patreon, please do so. But yeah, I'll probably come up with some courses in the future. Do you expect lottery players to jump into Bitcoin soon? I don't know. Because I think no, because they don't see it as a big enough gain right away. Because buying a lottery ticket, $1 can net you millions. To buy $1 Bitcoin is not going to net you millions at this point. It's too late for that. So I don't know if they're going to jump in. Maybe. I see some videos on TikTok where people are playing $100 slot machines. And it's just nuts to see them blow through like literally $1,000 within 10 seconds, right? Like it's nuts and it's sad, really, to have that kind of gambling addiction to play $100 slot machines. All that money could be put into Bitcoin or something else, and it would be a lot smarter that way. But some people, they can't help it, or they're a millionaire already and they don't care. But 15,500. I mean, 17,550. No, I'm not drinking right now. Just came out wrong. 17,700. I'm just going to mark it. That's really, literally the last resistance point we have for Bitcoin before 20,000. It went from 17,700 to 20,000 within a single day in 2017. Okay, we were only above 17,000 for about 7 to 8 days. So after that, we went to 20,000 after 77 within a single day. So it's looking like Bitcoin does not want to stop. It looks like Bitcoin wants to hit 77, and I don't know what's going to happen. If it's going to come down or it's going to go up. It should come down. I mean, it does need to come down a little bit, but I've been saying that for a while, right? Like, it should be consolidating. I thought it would have came around 17.3 because we just smashed through 15 and 16K pretty easily. I thought maybe we'll take a breather here, but no, it doesn't look like Bitcoin wants to take a breather here. Maybe at 77, I doubt it because we're only 200 points away. Now it's looking like our breather will come at 20,000. So something could happen at 20,000. So after going up here, we can have a big down. But even at 20,000, you fall down 3,000 points. That's only 17,000. That's still back to where we are now. So it's not like that's a big deal. If it falls down 4,000 points from 2,000 or 20,000, which is a good drop, that would only bring us to 16,000 where we were yesterday. So, you know, it's a win-win situation. It doesn't, you know, it'll be good, I guess, being a good buy opportunity again. But not really because it's the same place we were today and yesterday. So we'll see. We'll see. People are saying ETH is shooting up. LTC is shooting up. Yeah, like I said, altcoins are starting to move up because they've been decimated for the last few months. Now some of them are starting to come up. So looking at this for the last 7 days, Bitcoin's up 15%. Ethereum is not really shooting up. It's still, you know, trailing Bitcoin by 8%. Hold on a second. Sorry, I had to block the sun. XRP. I'm surprised XRP. No one's asking about XRP. It's up 18%, 19%. Wow. If any of you guys are curious about XRP and why it's going up, I do have a very informative video about that. Chainlink has not moved at all, surprisingly. Litecoin up 28%. Wow. 28%. I've been bashing Litecoin a lot. And I saw someone on Twitter. I think they were trying to make me watch some other person that responded. I don't know. I know about Litecoin, all right? It's a team of one. Hopefully nothing ever happens to Charlie because if it does, the Litecoin is over. Development is over. That's it. What else is doing good? Anything surpassing Bitcoin? Not that much. Uniswap is. Of course, I think Uniswap is not going to go away anytime soon because they're a big DEX. Dash is doing well, surprisingly. Ethereum Classic is doing somewhat well. Yearn Finance, Compound, Waves. I had to look into Waves. I don't know why Waves been pumping. I've been seeing Waves pump. Maybe it's just pumping for no reason, but I don't know if they did something with their DEX because they did have a DEX, but it's a really weird form of DEX, or maybe they got into DeFi. I mean, yes, a lot of these altcoins are going up, but very, very little are surpassing Bitcoin. Sushi Swap, Jesus, it just jumped up because they tanked like a rock. So now they're coming up a little bit, so good for them. Quant is doing good. Blockstack, Reserve Rights, don't know too much about them. NXM, man, they were trying to come up with a decentralized internet. They've hung around. It's like a really complicated system. They're trying to replace TCP/IP. It's like basically an impossible thing, but I guess they're still hanging around. Thorchain, Rune, Nexio, another DEX, lending company. Curve, they're yield farming, I guess, for stable coins. Balancer. I guess the biggest gainers are DeFi because DeFi has taken the biggest hit. So maybe, getting into some of the DeFis wouldn't be a bad idea right now because they have, if you look at their month or 2 month performance, they're absolutely horrible. So DeFi is not going to go away anytime soon. So in terms of altcoins, it's good to see that some of them are going up. But still, as I went down the list, even though they're mostly green, they've risen less than Bitcoin. And if they're rising less than Bitcoin, then you're actually losing, right? So you actually don't want that. I would say yield farming. I don't trust yield farming at all anymore. Or I shouldn't say not at all anymore. I never trusted yield farming. I never got into it. I don't trust it. But in terms of DeFi, using DEXs, lending programs, those are legit. Although I don't like lending, but they're legit. Marshawn says, I trade all my alts for Bitcoin and haven't looked back. That's good. It works out sometimes, right? It works out to just switch to Bitcoin. Sometimes you just don't want to worry about altcoins anymore. You just want to go to Bitcoin, and there's nothing wrong with that. What do you think about Binance Earn? I looked at it. It's interesting. I mean, basically, everyone's copying everyone. All exchanges offering some kind of staking platform. And if you have your money on there, why not? Why not just stake it and earn some interest, right? So I think Binance Earn and others, every exchange has some sort of it. It's not bad as long as you trust the exchange. Pedro, haven't seen you in a while. TJ, congratulations. So the next one, the final one before 20,000 is 17.7. So Bitcoin utilized this a couple times back in 2017, only about a week's worth, where it utilized 17.7 as a resistance, and that's it. It really didn't utilize 77 as a support. It just utilized it as a resistance. So after it broke 17.7, it hit 20,000 or 19.8 within a single day. So that could be coming. Like, all this space right here, right? This space right here. That could be coming right after this break 17.7. And this is all coming without FOMO, right? Despite the fact that crypto people is enthusiastic and so forth, this is not FOMO, all right? FOMO would show this, okay? Let's just give you an example. That's FOMO right there. Look at where we are now in terms of people searching for buy Bitcoin versus what happened in 2017. That's FOMO. Until we see this go up to there, we know that FOMO really hasn't started yet, right? But it's creeping up. But regardless, when you have Grayscale buying $260 million worth of Bitcoin per week and every week, things are going up. There's no Bitcoins to go around. The miners, I have to figure out how much the miners actually produce in a week, because I know it's not this many. Okay, Grayscale used to purchase at 1.5x, and then they went up to 2x. I don't know if they're purchasing 3 or 4x more than what the miners are producing. So basically, everything that is out there, they are gobbling up. And they're not alone. They're not the only company doing so. There's a lot of companies behind the scenes that's doing the same thing. So right now, what's going up, why Bitcoin's going up, is driven by institutional interests. That's purely it. It's not even retail FOMO yet. And as I said that, it just keeps going up and up and up and up. Kind of nutty. Yeah, Irvin, my highest streams was in the thousands. I remember there was a session, it was like 1,200 or 1,300 viewers. That's how you could tell. Right now everyone's watching are people that's already involved with Bitcoin, which is good. Some people has been down or sitting on the sidelines. They're starting to come back, which is good. But this is not newcomers. You don't see questions from people like, how do I buy Bitcoin? Why is Bitcoin going up? What is blockchain, right? The basic questions you don't hear about, right? And that's because retail FOMO hasn't hit yet. When it does, it's going to be a very, 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 very different story. There's going to be so much money flowing in. It's going to be nutty once again. So that's right around the corner, right around the corner. Even a, oh, you guys can't see this because it's blocking. Even a technical indicator on TradingView says strong buy right now. Yeah, someone said I wish BTC will come down for others to get in, and that's the thing. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna come down. You know, even if it hits 20,000 and comes down 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 points, we're still only to where we are yet now and last week, right? If it ever goes down, I mean, drastically, I don't know, even to 14,000, even to 13,000, I would love for that to happen, but honestly, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And even if it did, that's not too far off from where we are anyways. So, but anyways, any big dips is really a gift at this point. If we do see some dramatic drop somehow, it would be a really big gift. It would be really time to stock up even more. But I'm looking forward to it, but I just don't see it right now. Unless something catastrophe happens, right? Man, it is growing very fast though right here. It is growing very fast. See, we're nearing that 17.7 mark already. I do think Bitcoin needs to have a breather, needs to consolidate or even retrace a little bit. I thought it would happen at 17.3, but it didn't. So now it may happen at 17.7, which we're there now already. Or maybe it'll happen at 20,000. These last time, this is getting kind of crazy. Let's see what happens here. I was going to end the stream, but let's see what happens in the next 10 minutes because we may just go like from here to here because that's what happened in 2017. Let's see what happens here. If it continues, it is accelerating. It's going pretty nutty right now. Let's go to a shorter time frame here. 15 minutes. Well, if you look at like RSI and stochastic RSI, like Bitcoin is beyond overbought right now. RSI is at 87 and stochastic is at 100. So looking at this, Bitcoin should come down a little bit. But I don't know if it's this. All right, let's go to 1 hour. 1 hour also very high, but not as high as before. It's getting there. 1 hour does show that there's still a little bit more room to grow. 4 hour is high, but again, not as high as some previous peaks. So again, a little more room to grow. Daily actually doesn't look too bad. Daily actually looks like it does have room to grow. Now weekly does show that Bitcoin is very high right now, right? So I think the weekly is a telling indicator that a consolidation period or a retracement should be happening right around the corner. And that could be where we are now, or it could be at 20,000. I honestly think at this point it's probably at 20,000. The way Bitcoin is being bought, I don't think it's going to stop. I think we're going to see 20,000 and then probably finally come down and take a breather. And then when that happens, altcoins should probably like skyrocket because when Bitcoin takes a retracement or consolidation or just a breathing period, a lot of that money is going to flow out. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Or maybe none of that happens because Grayscale continues to ramp up their buying and they buy 300 million or 400 million this week. It's going to negate all that. Yeah, I mean, just literally every single one sold is being bought. And when that happens, the price just keeps going up and up and up. Hey, Michael, when do you think retail FOMO will start? I think after 20,000. So here's a well-known actress, Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones, right? I know a lot of you guys watch the show. She posted this saying, should I go long on Bitcoin? And to my surprise, majority of her voters said no, right? And most of the yes is probably from the Bitcoiners. So that kind of shows you retail FOMO is nowhere close to before. I do think after 20,000, you're going to hear a lot more about Bitcoin because, of course, all the news publications, everyone is going to say, oh, Bitcoin formed a new high. And then people are like, what happened? You know, how did I miss out? Because people aren't paying attention. And look at this, you know, compared to 2017 and now, nowhere close. So we'll see. What if Grayscale dumps it? Why would they? Why would they? And they don't own it technically. It's their clients. Their clients that gave them hundreds of millions to billions of dollars to buy Bitcoin. Those wealthy investors, okay, we're talking about people that have $100 million in their assets. They're not trying to swing trade or day trade Bitcoin, right? So they're buying for a long haul. There is absolutely no reason for them to dump it unless there's some catastrophe happens and everyone is fearful. But now it's different. This is a different game. You know, Bitcoin is recognized as a true store of value. So if there is some catastrophe that happens, maybe it only helps Bitcoin rise up. So maybe it's a little bit too early, but maybe not, because Bitcoin is decoupling from the market. And there's so many people that view it now as, you know, as a hedge, as a true store of value. So who knows what may happen. First rejection, yeah, 17.7. I told you guys, 17.7 is the last point, right? Last point before 20,000. So, and I just showed you guys 15-minute, 1 hour is a little bit overbought. So let's see what happens here. Does it go down to 17.3 again, right? I mean, RSI is resetting on the 15-minute pretty fast. Let's go to 5-minute here. I mean, I have a feeling this is going to come back really, really fast. But we'll see. It's funny, we're studying this like this is some kind of doomsday drop. But this morning, we started. Where did the morning start? The morning started like, I don't know, at least for me, like somewhere around here, right? So yeah, this is no doomsday drop. But when you're on a short time frame, I guess it's interesting to watch it like that. It's not a long squeeze. I mean, you know, these indicators, RSI and stochastic RSI, and other people use other things like Bollinger Bands. I have that up here, right? These are all lagging indicators. So they basically study the moving average of a certain price for a certain while, and it's likely that it's going to reverse if it's too overbought or too oversold. And the reason for that is because most people trading they like patterns, right? They like to see something that they recognize. So these are like trained patterns that people follow, and you know, they use software or bots or whatever to buy, right? So this kind of stuff is true, especially on as shorter time frames. It's almost to the T, where if you see RSI and stochastic RSI top out like this, and it's above the Bollinger Band, it's a very, very, very likely chance that it's going to come down. However, with that said, that's on a very short time frame. On longer time frames, these gets wiped out and you don't even see them, right? Like if you go to 4 hour, you don't notice it. It's all green right now. It's all green, right? But within it, the shorter time frames, you'll see a lot of up and downs, up and downs. But the main thing is on the longer time frames, 4 hour, daily, weekly, you know, it's nothing but ups right now. Nothing but ups. Look at it from our 3,800 bottom, right? This is pretty aggressive. This is a V-shaped recovery right here, right? And then we went sideways for a few months, and then again picked up the momentum. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight weeks of green for Bitcoin. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Do you expect a lot of greedy people will buy other Bitcoin since it's cheaper? I don't know. Some people will because they don't know any difference. But people that actually do research will know Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Buying others is really a gamble, right? Sometimes it works out. Sometimes altcoins will go out, will work out, but most of the time it doesn't. This will be interesting. In another few minutes, Bitcoin will retest this and go back up again. if it breaks 17.7, that's where it'll be really interesting to see if Bitcoin just skyrockets up to 20,000 or if it doesn't. Yeah, because this is the last stop. This is truly the last stop. There is no more stop after 17.7 to 20,000. This happened within a single day. One single day. And Bitcoin has only been above 17,000 for like 7 or 8 days. So, I mean, we're really getting near uncharted territory right now. Like, we're really there. I would be surprised if Bitcoin actually settles to 18,000s or 19,000s if we did a slow up. I'm thinking that we're going to see some crazy movement after 77. We might just shoot up to 20,000 right away. What do you think about TRX, Tron? I don't know. Tron is Tron. They're doing stuff, but they're led by Justin, and he does some questionable things. So I don't know. I mean, they have good tech. They have a lot of things going for them. I think they'll do well in the future, but a lot of people really distrust Justin, and rightfully so. He has done some stuff that he should not have in the past. Number of viewers is climbing, almost 700 people. Why is Bitcoin going so high? Well, that's easy. People are starting to recognize the potential of Bitcoin. Citibank analysts, this was yesterday, agreed with what I've been saying for a couple years now, that Bitcoin can hit 300,000 by 2021. And that's because it's following the same footsteps as the last 4-year cycle. In the last 4-year cycle, it went up 1,500% in the last year alone. So this next year, 2021, Bitcoin goes up 1,500% from 20,000. Guess what? We're at $300,000. And you have a lot of wealthy people. A lot of wealthy people pouring their money into Grayscale Trust, which now owns $8.5 or $8.6 billion of the Bitcoin. And most of this was purchased just this year alone. And you may be asking, why are all these wealthy investors buying the Bitcoin? Well, the biggest reason is what's going on around the world. They distrust the governments and fiat to handle the economic situation right now, right? A lot of them are buying Bitcoin as a store of value, as a hedge against fiat and against inflation. That's the reason why a lot of them have turned this year. They never truly believed in Bitcoin for life-changing wealth because most of them are already filthy rich, but they're trying to protect their money. And it's funny that they're protecting their money by buying Bitcoin. That's what they're actually doing. So it's a total reversal. And this is why Bitcoin was created. Because of this trust in the central banks and governments around the world. This is the actually legit reason why Bitcoin was created. And now this narrative is actually coming true. At least people recognize it. And that's the biggest reason why what we're seeing now is different than 2017. 2017 is purely FOMO, 100% driven by FOMO. 100%. There's a lot of promises about what's to come with altcoins and with Bitcoin itself and this and that, but none of that was happening in 2017. You could see here, everything happened in 2017 was purely driven by FOMO. Right now, it's not driven by FOMO. Right now, it's driven by adoption and recognition and actually awareness. Like everything about Bitcoin is actually being studied and people actually understand it and realize why it's important to buy and why it exists. Not because it's just going to go to the moon, although most people still care about that. But you can see FOMO has not hit at all. So what's happening right now is very different than 2017. Very, very, very different. And that is different in a good way because what we're seeing right now is slow and steady growth. And that's what we want to see. And we see very little volatility at this point, which is also very good. So it's just slow and steady, right? Like a tortoise. And it's definitely winning the race at this point. All right, guys. I said a lot. Man, almost 700 people watching. I hate to end the stream. But I covered so much. I hope you guys hit the like. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and follow me on Twitter. Because sometimes I have these live streams randomly. Like for example, today we hit 20,000, or tomorrow I'll probably have a live stream tonight. But yeah, so make sure you do. And those of you guys that are interested, check out my Patreon page. I have it in my description. Also, if you're interested in going to Vegas, I do have a QR code for Vegas Fund. So if you guys want to contribute to that, please do so. I'd love to meet some of you guys in 2021. When things settle down, we'll have a good party. We'll have a good old party at Vegas. Before, I said it was going to be the largest gathering of Lambos ever seen. But maybe not this time. Because altcoins are still kind of low. Maybe it'll be the largest gathering of rented Lambos instead. We'll settle for that. Will there be an altcoin season? I think that's what you're trying to say. Alan, you FOMO'd? You bought more? Yeah, there'll be altcoin season. When Bitcoin consolidates, there's definitely gonna be altcoin season. Right now, some altcoins are starting to move, which is good. But I think when Bitcoin goes higher in 2021, you're gonna see a lot more money flow into altcoins. Second half of 2021, second latter half of 2021 is, I think, when you'll really see some altcoins fly. So some of these ones that's been down for so long, some good projects like Nulls, I think they're gonna start really flying in 2021. Now, some of them have, consistently gained over the last year or so. Like Chainlink, for example, it's already a big cap, right? I think they'll still continue to go, but I think a lot of the small caps and mid caps, they're really going to fly. Peter Schiff was not right for once. Well, he hasn't been right for a lot of times. I don't know what your thoughts on him is. Where's the other card? Yeah, here we go. Peter Schiff accidentally called the bottom, and since then Bitcoin has been up 400%. VeChain, China will play a big role. China is going all digital. VeChain is so ingrained with all the biggest companies in China, so you know that they're ingrained with the government officials there, which is really good if you want to survive in China. I think VeChain and any Chinese-based crypto company that survives will do really well. FOMO buy made me 2K. Well, congratulations. But don't go too greedy. Don't go too greedy. Sometimes when you go the greediest is when you lose the most, right? So don't be too greedy. Will you do live videos for my card channel? I did it once, and the turnout was super, super low. But I've been building my audience, so I'm going to try it again soon. I was actually supposed to do a live stream of the Wrangler. The Wrangler 392 actually just came out. I was supposed to be a live stream with that, but I decided not to since I'm on with you guys. But there's another live stream about the 2022 Civic tonight. So if you guys want to see the new Civic debut, check out to my other channel, Drivers Only. But yeah, maybe. Yeah, I love talking about cars. My three passions right now is cars, and then sports cards, especially basketball cards, because that's the only one I collect. And also crypto. That's it. These three things. But I only buy when it's FOMO. It's a strategy that works. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. If you just simply bought low and wait until FOMO hits, I think you would do better. Am I looking at Litecoin too? No, I do not like Litecoin. I do not like Litecoin at all. Don't be a greedy pig. That is right. That is right. That's why I'm learning from the past. But I do realize that I do regret that I didn't be a greedy pig at 3,800. I should have gone all in at 4,000. But I've been consistently holding a lot of cash on the side, waiting for good buy opportunities. I told you guys recently that I set myself on a schedule now. to consistently buy, right? And if there's any big dips coming, I'm going to be buying. I'm going to be buying. I think this is the last chance to really buy before Bitcoin just becomes too expensive, really. But yeah, with that said, don't be too greedy, right? Some of you guys may be tempted to go, all in with leverage or put down your collateral to borrow money to buy or do something else crazy or go all in on altcoins right now. There's a lot of things you could do, and you want to be careful not to do those kind of things. Then it's just you're risking too much. You don't want to do that. All right, guys, that is it. Let's see what happens. We had a good run up to 17.7, almost 17.8, right? Came down a little bit. The indicators need to reset, and they are. Like the 15 minutes coming down, 5 minute probably bottomed out, close to it. Yup. So we'll see another run up pretty soon. And it'll be really, 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 really interesting to see what happens at 17.7. Do we just go straight up to 20,000 or do we hover here for a little bit? Because there is no more resistances after 17.7. It goes straight from 17.7 to 20,000. I mean, this is a big gap right here. So we'll see. It'll be quite interesting. And if we do have some crazy movement, I'll have a live stream tonight too, and we'll have a good time. We'll have a good time during it with alcohol, with my friend, Mr. Jameson. All right, that is it. I'm surprised no one asked me about the XRP. XRP has been moving so well, and not one person asked me about why XRP went up 19%. Come on, I'm disappointed. So no one's curious about XRP? Jake, there you go. I can always depend on Jake. Jake wants to know about XRP. Why is XRP up 18%? Well, this will explain it.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.